Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Pranav in USA. So guys, आज का vlog भी होने वाला है informative because we are going to continue with our masters application series. And guys, this is video number 2 because हम लोग ने पहले वाले vlog में बात की थी about my profile and all the questions around it. So guys, अगर आपने वो नहीं देखा है so do check it out क्योंकि आज के vlog में हम लोग specifically बात करने वाले हैं about SOP. So guys, अगर आपको SOP नहीं पता है so it is basically statement of purpose. Which is another important factor based on which admission committee decide करता है कि आपको admission उस यूनिवर्सिटी में मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा. So guys, आज का ब्लॉग होने वाला है थोड़ा लेंदी एंड थोड़ा डिटेल बट मैं सारा कुछ एक ब्लॉग में नहीं कवर कर पाऊंगा तो इसके लिए मैं इसके 2 पार्ट्स बनाने वाला हूँ. सो आज के पार्ट में वी आर गोइंग टू स्पेसिफिकली cover all the questions, all the general questions जो लोगों को होते हैं and we are going to start with the most basic questions जो है formatting से related guidelines. Then we are going to move towards the questions related to your structure and flow of the SOP. उसके बाद में we are also going to try to answer questions related to customization. And lastly, अगर आपको लगता है कि आपकी प्रोफाइल थोड़ी वीक है so what type of information needs to be added to the SOP. तो ये आज के ब्लॉग में सारा कुछ कवर होने वाला है. So guys, डू सब्सक्राइब अगर आपने नहीं किया हो क्योंकि नेक्स्ट वाले व्लॉग में थोड़ी ज़्यादा वैल्यू आपको मिलने वाली है बिकॉज नेक्स्ट वाले व्लॉग में मैं अपने खुद का SOP शेयर करने वाला हूँ द वन विच आई यूज्ड टू अप्लाई टू ऑल द यूनिवर्सिटीज़ एंड व्हाट वाज माय स्ट्रैटेजी व्हाट वाज माय अप्रोच. ये सारा कुछ शेयर होने वाला है बट इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो. सो गाइज डू सब्सक्राइब राइट नाउ. Alright guys, it's time. So let's start with our first question, which is what is the ideal length of an SOP? So I think most SOPs they fall between 800 to 1000 words, and in case अगर university ने mention नहीं किया है, so I will advise you guys to stick to between 1.5 to 2 pages because अगर आप एडमिशन डिपार्टमेंट के पर्सपेक्टिव से सोचोगे जो लोग SOP रीड करते हैं वो लोग दिन के ही 100 पढ़ते होंगे. सो आई गेस मतलब दे वुड प्रेफर टू हैव योर SOP मोर कंसाइज rather than it being lengthy. So guys, keep that in mind. So guys, the next question is should it be 1 page or 2 pages? So like I said, it should be 1.5 to 2 pages. So the thing is अगर आप 1 page रखते हो so it would be like it will look like बहुत ज़्यादा आपने compress कर दिया information. So I would suggest to keep it 1.5 to 2 again because उसमें आपको थोड़ा space मिल जाएगा to add in more details to your personal journey. But again, that being said, आपको फालतू की details नहीं डालनी है because every paragraph should have a purpose behind it and you should not unnecessarily stretch it. Alright guys, so the third question is what font and formatting should I use? So guys, for this particular question, I would suggest कि आप यूनिवर्सिटी के वेबसाइट पे जाओ एंड चेक आउट द गाइडलाइंस बिकॉज ये सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के लिए डिफरेंट होने वाला है. एंड इन केस इफ इट्स नॉट मेंशन देन आई वुड सजेस्ट कि आप थोड़ा स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेटिंग रखो बिकॉज दिस इज़ नॉट अ डिज़ाइन कॉम्पिटिशन. सो आई वुड सजेस्ट कि आप स्टैंडर्ड फॉन्ट्स यूज़ करो विच इज़ टाइम्स रोमन और एरियल एंड कीप इट लाइक द फॉन्ट साइज एज 11 or 12. सो अगेन the committee expects you to keep your SOP clean, concise and आप कुछ भी fancy add मत करो, कुछ भी unnecessary formatting मत करो. So the fourth question is can I use the same SOP for all universities? So guys, you can use the same base structure. So what is base structure? So basically the motivation part, then the second part in which you talk about your academic as well as your professional journey, that could remain same. So जो 70% of your structure होगा that could remain same, but the 30% is the part which you need to change in which you talk about the university and how this program is going to help you. So वो जो 30% होगा that needs to be customized for each of your SOPs. So guys, keep that in mind. And this is one of the most common mistakes because usually लोग क्या करते हैं जो students जो लोग apply करते हैं what they'll do is that in order to save time they'll just change the name of the university, they'll just change the name of the program, that's it. But guys, again I would highly suggest कि आप वो last वाला जो part होता है last 2 paragraphs that needs to be changed for each of your SOPs. The next question is what is the correct structure of an SOP? So as per me जो भी मैंने अभी तक देखा है, जो भी मैंने अभी तक documents पढ़े, So as per me, it comprises of 4 parts. So the first part is your motivation part, in which you basically speak about कि आपको उस particular field में interest कैसे develop हुआ. Second one is in which you basically talk about your academic and professional journey and how it prepared you for that program. Third part is you speak about the university, you speak about that particular program कि आपको यहाँ पे क्यों जाना है and how this fits into your entire journey. And lastly, you speak about what are going to be your career goals and how this program is going to help you with that. So I think this is the entire, you can say, the logical flow of the SOP. So guys, the next question is, how should I start my SOP? So like I said, your first part has to be always your motivation. So I would say think of a meaningful moment. It could be, you are doing some project, या आप कोई internship कर रहे थे, full time कहीं पे काम कर रहे थे, and that is when you realized, oh my god, this is the thing that I want to pursue in life. And one more thing, stop being over dramatic, because I have seen SOPs जिसमें लिखा हुआ था since I was a child I decided to क्योंकि मैंने बचपन में Iron Man देख लिया था, I wanted to learn more about the Jarvis technology, and इसके लिए मैंने decide किया I want to pursue a masters in robotics. So you don't have to sound like that, because वो पता चल जाता है and it makes it look more generic, because यार वो क्योंकि वो सच है ही नहीं, right? So sound natural, be realistic. जो भी आपको actual में ऐसा लगता है कि this was the turning point, so write about it. Yeah, but it has to be attention grabbing, but without sounding cliche. Next question is, how much focus should I give to academics? So I think in this case what you can do is you can highlight the courses that prepared you for this program. So what you can do is, again, let's say you can just talk about 2 or 3 courses from your undergrad which helped you to shape your interest. So what I did is, I remember when I was applying for business analytics program, I did mention about DBMS course which I took in undergrad, and what were the things that I learned and how it kind of shaped my interest. So इसमें ये चीज़ मत करना कि आप सारे के सारे आपके जितने भी ट्रांसक्रिप्ट में कोर्सेज आप सारे लिस्ट डाउन कर दो. Only list down those courses which are relevant and which were useful and which kind of helped you in shaping your interest. So yeah. Alright guys, so the next question is, how much space should work experience take? So in case if you have work experience, then in that case I would suggest that you should show growth and impact, because it doesn't make sense if you're listing down all the responsibilities, because उसके लिए तो आपके पास आपका resume है, right? So in SOP what you should do is you should talk about the things that you contributed, the things about all the things that you learned, and ये सारा चीज़ करने के बाद में आपने क्यों decision बनाया that you should pursue your masters, right? So all these things should be there in your SOP about your work experience. So guys, our next question is, how do I transition smoothly between academics and work? So guys, again, so when you're making a transition from academics to work, so the first thing is you have to talk about the things that you learned at college which helped you in your work, and uske baad mein you talk about the things which you realize while working that this is where I lack, this is where I'm not good at, and the things which helped you realize that there are certain gaps that I need to fill in, and all those gaps could be filled in if I pursue this particular degree or this particular program. So when you try to connect these 2 dots, it should feel natural. It shouldn't feel like 2 separate blocks. So yeah. So guys, the next question is, where should I talk about my career goals? So this is basically the last section of SOP, and guys, make sure that when you're talking about your career goals, it should not feel disconnected from your past experience. So जो भी आपका past experience है, जो भी आपका academic interest है, professional background जो भी है, it should align with your future goals, right? It should not be completely different. So keep that in mind. So guys, next question is, should career goals include short term and long term? So yeah guys, आपको दोनों include करने हैं. So for short term goals, I would suggest that you keep it specific, you keep it realistic, because इसमें आपको क्या चीज़ इंक्लूड करनी चाहिए. So you should talk about the position you want. You should mention like the title and the industry in which you want to enter. And for long-term goals, you can keep it a little bit broader, but again, it has to fall in the same industry. So make sure जो आपका long-term and short-term का industry, it is at least the same. And there is no harm in mentioning the name of the companies in which you want to work, क्योंकि मैंने किया था NYU वाले SOP में भी. So I don't think it makes a difference, but you are being just more specific. So yeah, that's it. Guys, next question थोड़ा interesting है, थोड़ा लगता भी है कि हाँ ये बहुत लोग पूछ सकते हैं. This is, how do I explain low GPA? So first of all, guys, even if you have low GPA, you don't have to make it GPA centric. मतलब you don't have to focus entirely about justifying कि आपका GPA कम क्यों था. You just acknowledge and you move forward. In fact, मैंने अपने SOP में GPA के बारे में कुछ लिखा भी नहीं था. I just spoke about the courses and वो courses ने मुझे कैसे help किया about my in my work and everything. So you don't really talk about GPA as such in your SOP. And yeah, it doesn't make sense writing half a page justifying low GPA. So yeah, guys, avoid that. So guys, our next question is, how do I justify a domain switch? तो अगर आपको याद होगा, हम लोग ने ये पहले भी डिस्कस किया था कि अगर आपका प्रीवियस वर्क एक्सपीरियंस अलाइन नहीं करता है आपके करियर गोल्स के साथ में, then you have to provide evidence, right? So guys, again, मतलब for this question also, I will again mention कि you have to clearly explain what triggered that switch. So मतलब you have to talk about that project, that internship, या कोई sudden realization हो गया कि oh my god, this is the domain that I need to work in, that I want to pursue. So it has to be clearly, explicitly, you have to like mention it, and also you have to talk about all the skills that you built, that you developed, जो आप नए जिस डोमेन में शिफ्ट करने वाले हो, जिस डोमेन में आप ट्रांजिशन करने वाले हो. सो यू हैव टू गिव एविडेंस, यू हैव टू गिव ऑल द प्रूफ्स. अगर आपने वो नहीं दिया, then in that case it's going to be very risky, and your SOP, just like I said, it's going to sound and look weaker. So guys, our next question is, what if I don't have work experience? Well, I mean, there are so many students जो लोग directly as a fresher आते हैं. So in that case, what they do is they talk about their academic projects, they talk about their internships, they talk about the coursework. But guys, make sure आप जो भी explain कर रहे हो, that has to be in depth. So don't focus on the number of projects. जो भी आप projects कर रहे हो, जो भी relevant है masters के program से, make sure आप उसी के बारे में बात कर रहे हो, and make sure that you explain them in detail. So guys, our next question is, what if I don't have strong extracurriculars? So first of all, let me tell you guys, this is not a deciding factor. And secondly, for most of the MS programs, especially the technical ones, they focus more on your academic preparation and clarity of goals. So guys, अगर आपके पास नहीं भी हो, so don't worry, don't stress over this thing. And what you can do is, आपके पास जो भी work experience है या जो भी आपने कोई committee में part लिया होगा कभी ना कभी, so what you can do is you can try to map those points with like certain values like teamwork हो गया, or you took some initiative, या फिर leadership related quality. So you can just try to like map those things with all these values. That's it. Moving on to the next question, which is, should I mention specific professors? Guys, you should definitely do that. मैंने भी किया था. I did mention about 2-3 professors NYU के लिए. And one more thing that you need to keep in mind is that you should also talk about their projects, about their papers, or the area of work, and also explain why it aligns with your interest, right? Because इससे क्या होगा कि it will show that you have done your research. In fact, you have done a genuine research about this program, about this course, about this professors. So definitely do mention the name of the professors. Yeah. ये काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है, विच इज़, हाउ डू आई प्रॉपरली रिसर्च अ यूनिवर्सिटी? सो गाइस, मैं अपना अप्रोच आपके साथ में शेयर करता हूँ. सो द फर्स्ट थिंग इज़, व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज़, you need to go through the profiles of all the professors. So इससे आपको दो चीज़ें पता चल जाएगी. Firstly कि जो उनका background है and the area of his work, if that aligns with your background and your professional goals, so you should definitely consider his courses. Second thing that you can do is, like, you should take a look at all the courses which are offered by that particular program and look for those courses which again aligns with your background and aligns with your professional goals. And thirdly, look for additional information which is available there on the website and which will help you to answer the question, which is what makes this program unique. So guys, अगर आपके पास ये सारी information होगी, So basically it will help you to make your SOP more specific rather than it being generic. So I think ये सारी चीज़ें अगर आप कर लोगे, so it will help you in making your SOP a lot stronger. Okay, so the next question is, how do I show that I'm a good fit for this program? Okay, so in order to show that you're a good fit for this program, I think you should answer 3 questions, which is why this field, why this university, and why now. So guys, if you're able to, like, if you're logically able to connect your past experience to the program and to your future goals, then I think you're an obvious fit. So make sure that you're able to answer these 3 questions. Okay, moving on to the next question, which is how do I avoid sounding generic? So guys, I think इसके लिए I have the right answer for you guys. So जब आपको पूछते कि why this university, why this program, don't just say कि they have this world-class faculty or this is a prestigious university. So guys, make sure that you specify all the details and you don't just say कि यार बहुत अच्छी यूनिवर्सिटी है, वर्ल्ड क्लास फैकल्टी है. So avoid using such terms, avoid using such words. So just do your research and I think you'll be good. Guys, ये question थोड़ा interesting है. Can universities detect plagiarism? Of course they can, because as far as I know, they do run some similarity checks and अगर आप कोई directly कोई SOP sample उठा रहे हो online web से, तो guys I think that is like the fastest way of getting rejected. So please किसी का copy मत करो SOP. It has to be your own, it has to be unique. So please avoid picking random SOP samples from the net. गाइस, जो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है मेरी स्क्रीन पे, आई थिंक अगर ये क्वेश्चन मैं वीडियो में नहीं डालूंगा तो ये व्लॉग थोड़ा इनकम्प्लीट लगेगा, बिकॉज ये क्वेश्चन आई थिंक बहुत लोगों के दिमाग में आता है. सो इट इज़, शुड आई हायर अ कंसल्टेंसी? बिकॉज बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि यार बहुत मेहनत है, इतनी बार लिखना पड़ेगा ड्राफ्ट एंड एवरीथिंग, एंड इट इज़ लाइक इट इज़ सो टाइम कंज्यूमिंग. तो क्यों नहीं मैं डायरेक्टली कोई आई जस्ट हायर अ कंसल्टेंसी एंड दे विल राइट अ SOP फॉर मी. मतलब मेरा कितना टाइम बच जाएगा. बट गाइस, इन दैट केस उनको आपकी लाइफ की डिटेल्स नहीं पता है. दे डोंट नो अबाउट योर जर्नी, राइट? सो इफ समवन एल्स राइट्स योर स्टोरी, इट इज़ जस्ट गोइंग टू साउंड आर्टिफिशियल, इट विल जस्ट साउंड जेनेरिक. सो गाइस, प्लीज डोंट डू दैट. द फर्स्ट ड्राफ्ट आपको ही लिखना है. इट हैज़ टू कम फ्रॉम यू. What consultancy can do is they can structure it, they can polish it, they can refine it. So guys, I mean, there is no choice, but you have to write your own draft. First draft आपको ही लिखना है. Next question is when should I start writing my SOP? Guys, अगर आपको लग रहा है कि एक ही डॉक्यूमेंट है और 1000 वर्ड्स है, AI भी है, GPT भी है, हो जाएगा. So again, अगर आप AI की हेल्प लेने वाला, if you're just going to ask GPT to write your SOP, again it's going to be the same thing. वो एक generic सा SOP लिख के आपको दे देगा. So I think इसके लिए you'll have to at least spend I think a month, 1 month I think, yes. क्योंकि मुझे भी पता है कि मैंने I think 10 to 14 मुझे अलग अलग वर्जन्स लगे थे. बिकॉज एवरी टाइम यू हैव टू लाइक रिफाइन इट, राइट? आपको हर एक से कुछ ना कुछ फीडबैक मिलते रहेगा एंड यू कीप ऑन रिफाइनिंग इट, बिकॉज योर फर्स्ट ड्राफ्ट इज ऑलवेज गोइंग टू बी योर इट्स गोइंग टू बी रॉ, जिसमें आपने सारी आइडियाज़ को ब्रेनस्टॉर्म किया. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपको ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करने के लिए 1-2 हफ्ते लगेंगे, क्योंकि आप लिख ही नहीं सकते हो. यू जस्ट हैव टू लाइक राइट डाउन वॉट एवर कम्स इनटू योर माइंड. सो यू जस्ट लाइक जो भी आपके दिमाग में आता है, जो भी आपको लगता है कि ओ दिस थिंग ऑल्सो मोटिवेटेड मी, ये चीज़ वो चीज़, यू जस्ट राइट इट डाउन फर्स्ट. सो आई वुड सजेस्ट लाइक यू जस्ट स्पेंड 1 or 2 weeks इन ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग फर्स्ट. एंड जब आपके पास वो हो जाएगा, यू कैन स्टार्ट विथ योर फर्स्ट ड्राफ्ट. देन इन द सेकेंड ड्राफ्ट यू कैन मेक इट मोर स्ट्रक्चर्ड. थर्ड वाले से आपका यू स्टार्ट विथ रिफाइनिंग इट. सो डेफिनेटली आपकी आई थिंक मिनिमम 3-4 तो मिनिमम लगने ही लगने हैं. So it is definitely going to be a time consuming process. So I would suggest कि आप 1 month उसको अलग से निकाल के रखो. So again this has to be again like ये ऐसी चीज़ है जो आप जिसके लिए डेडलाइन तक वेट नहीं करोगे. So guys, ये थोड़ा पहले से ही करके रख लेना, क्योंकि आपको सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ का भी अलग से रिसर्च भी करना है. So आप समझो, अगर आप 10 जगह पे अप्लाई करने वाले हो, you have to change the 3rd and 4th paragraph 10 times if you're applying to 10 universities. एंड ये मतलब वही है, जितना ज़्यादा आप अप्लाई करोगे उतना ही ज़्यादा ये टाइम उसको लगेगा, क्योंकि उतनी ही ज़्यादा यूनिवर्सिटीज़ का आपको रिसर्च करना है. Guys, we are on to the last question, which is what are the biggest mistakes that lead to rejection? So I think इसके लिए दो तीन reasons है. One is जब आप आपका resume repeat कर रहे हो, which is basically you are just like copying down all your responsibilities which are there on your resume और अपने same चीज़ SOP में लिख दी है. But in SOP, it is more about you talk about your contribution, you talk about your growth, you talk about your impact. And second thing I feel like is your SOP is just generic. अभी generic कैसे हो सकता है अगर आप ये customize नहीं कर रहे हो? Because for every university you have to talk about their program, you have to talk about their professors, you have to talk about their clubs, committees, courses. So again, and I think another reason would be जब आपके goals clear नहीं हो, मतलब when you're not able to like tie that thing जिसमें आप आपका background past experience and आपका जो future goals है. So again, if there is no logical flow between the two, again it is just going to make your SOP weaker. So I think और एक क्या हो सकता है? It could be when you are not giving sufficient time for writing SOP, because SOP is not something जो आप last minute एक document बना के डाल सकते हो. In fact, it is one of the most important criteria based on which admission committee decides कि आपको admission मिलने वाला है नहीं मिलने वाला है. So I think guys इसके लिए you need to अलग से आपको थोड़ा टाइम देना पड़ेगा. इट कांट जस्ट बी लाइक कि आपने एक दिन में लिख दिया, बिकॉज एक दिन वाली चीज़ ये है नहीं. सो आई थिंक ये 3-4 रीजंस है बिकॉज ऑफ विच यूजुअली लाइक पीपल गेट रिजेक्टेड. एंड गाइस मेक श्योर आप ये सारी कॉमन मिस्टेक्स ना करो. गाइस दैट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे. एंड इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो आई एम गोइंग टू शेयर माई ओन SOP जो मैंने यूज़ किया था अप्लाई करने के लिए, एंड कैसे मैंने कस्टमाइज़ किया था, व्हाट वाज माय स्ट्रैटेजी, everything I'm going to cover in the next video. So guys, अगर आप interested हो वो जानने के लिए, so please do subscribe to my channel. And yeah, that is all for today. And if you feel like this was helpful in some way, so guys please like, share and subscribe and also comment, क्योंकि मैं सारे comments पढ़ता हूँ. So if you feel like कि अगर मैंने कुछ miss out कर दिया है या फिर आपको लगता है कि आपके पास कुछ additional questions है, so I'll be happy to answer all your questions. So guys, do let me know in the comment section, and thank you guys, thank you for watching. Bye bye.